Often we focus on the academic side, and I know a lot of schools are shifting. Yeah, because obviously you have standards, benchmarks, and
Of
all
course.
those kind of things. But a lot of schools are also recognizing, yeah, but these are human beings at the end of the day,
That's right.
right? And we kind of touched on the importance of kids feeling comfortable. I'm just thinking from a sense of belonging standpoint, because I do a lot of work in that area. Me telling my story or my culture story, I would assume that create some sort of belonging where I feel maybe accepted, supported, and included. I just wanted to see if you had some thoughts in that area.
Well, yeah, I mean, I try to, and everything that I do, of course, use models that then kids can see themselves like windows and mirrors and Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop. So, like, if I'm doing, for example, reading photos alongside kids with families or reading images, we'll move into then reading picture book images alongside families during the independent work time. And those books are so purposefully selected to also make sure that kids can see themselves. It automatically gives a sense of belonging to kids when you even the playing field. It's not you're a higher reader or a lower reader. It's we're all looking at this image together, right? We're all looking at this, and all of us are capable of having a conversation about this piece of text being an image, or, kind of when you expand the definition of literacy to be more wide ranging than just alphabetic words on a page, kids then get a sense of belonging because their confidence is boosted, because then you can heterogeneously group them. They feel more confident with their families there anyway. They then have kind of the conversation springboard that they're able to then explain to their families what they did. So families are not just like taking the final product and saying, does this look nice? That's what the final product should be, as opposed they like know the entire story. I mean, I think that breeds a sense of confidence, and as a result, a sense of belonging. Like, you are 100%. Every child has amazing strengths, no matter what, period. Full stop. And so I think part of it is like arming families with the kinds of questions that they can ask, so that it's not just like, where is my child when it comes to comparison with others, but like, what inspires a sense of wonder in my child? What motivates my child to smile in the classroom? So the questions that I've organized are around agency and identity. And yes, of course, a sense of belonging. Like, does my child know that you know these things about them? Because what does that do? That makes the child feel so seen.
Okay, I have a question. My gears are turning, and I'm thinking you're going to have a diverse spread from maybe social economic status. You might have race and gender. There's all these different identities, and so I'm thinking, if I'm a teacher and I'm facilitating one of these activities, let's say again the photo elicitation. I just like saying elicitation now. So let's say we're talking about that, and let's say this one affluent family, they go all out with their project, and even their story is just like, oh my gosh, privilege. Then you
Right.
got another family that they do what they can,
Right.
and their story may not be as exciting.
Yeah.
How do we facilitate these type of activities to where there's celebration between each group?
No, absolutely. I mean, in every one of these experiences, there has been some level of discomfort with
Sure.
someone somewhere. It might be a teacher who says, gosh, that made me really sad. They didn't
Yeah.
even have this kind of experience, or she couldn't think of blank. Honestly, I don't do a big kind of like gallery presentation of any kind. It's just for the process, and it's just for the moment. It's a lot of teacher moving around with such hand on heart, like excitement, over the top enthusiasm for there's no right and wrong. I'm so excited you're here, and sharing of yourselves. It's a lot of that. It's not, let's put it on display and all of us then have a conversation about, right? And so I think that that minimizes things. But yeah, you have to kind of be okay with some discomfort, given the fact that you're like experiencing people's lives. When they're opening themselves up to you, you're going to have a lot of variation. And also, it's like very dependent on like the teaching body versus the student body, or versus the family. Is like, I've experienced a lot of kind of funky moments, but nothing that we can't kind of like get around and say, oh, I recognize that. And all families are different.
Okay. Well, okay. It was on my mind. I was like, man, this is great, but I just can imagine, like, you got 30 different families or 30 different stories,
Yeah,
And
there was a student in one of my recent lab sites that didn't want to bring out the thing that he had created with his family, just even to put up on the wall. And it was because he had a bunch of different siblings from different backgrounds and races, and he didn't want the kids to then like ask a bunch of questions. And I only got that out of him afterwards when I was like, "Show me your project. It's amazing. Let's add it. Let's put it up there." You know, it's. I think it's up to us to navigate those conversations, and they might be funky. You know, Jennifer Eberhardt, a social scientist, you know her, who wrote Biased.
yeah.
You know, she talks about like just the power in pausing, reflecting, and like sitting in it. That like that's where the power lies, is just sitting in it. And so I think we need to get better at sitting in the discomfort of potential differences and disparities. Usually it's the teacher's own
Yeah.
discomfort that percolates to the surface, and they don't know how to kind of navigate it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so what I'm hearing of all is essentially, if you're gonna do this, you need to be about that life, because there could be some tough stories or whatnot, and you can't be worried about your own comfort. That's not the goal as educators. Is for our to assess our level of comfort when we're learning from our students. I think definitely we can have compassion. I think definitely we can be empathetic. I guess for me, it's more of you need to be prepared that, like you said, there might be some difficult conversations that will ensue afterwards.
Yeah, and I think that this is like what we can end on. My kind of like last message is a true like unapologetic reverence for all families. And so no matter what their stories are, even if they bring discomfort to us sometimes, or we feel that it's not how families should look like, sound like, or act like, the most important thing is an unapologetic kind of positive regard for the families in our midst and the stories and the trajectories that they bring, and a validation that they are contributing in worthy ways to their children's literacy lives, that every adult is a contributor to this child's kind of literacy growth as a more collective approach, as opposed to this top down, this is how schools do it, so that we're not separating schooled literacy from authentic literacy in the world, which includes, of course, oral storytelling.
Hey, well, good job. I like that, Nawal. Good job on that. Thank you for your final thoughts. Again, Nawal is the author of Nourishing Caregiver Collaborations, Elevating Home Experiences and Classroom Practices for Collective Care. If we have some folks that want to connect with you, what's the best way to reach you online?
You can reach me at NQC Literacy on Twitter/X and at Qarooni on Instagram. My website is also nqcliteracy.org.
And we'll leave all the links in the show notes, folks, in case that was hard to remember. All the links will be there. So thank you again, Nawal. It has truly been a pleasure. I appreciate your time.
You're so awesome. Thank you for having me and for all the work that you do for education.
My pleasure.